Welcome to the flowerschool.com video library. I'm Leanne Kessler, Director of the Floral Design Institute, here to share with you our latest issue on summer treasures. As the summer draws to a close, I look at all the fun I've had and all the things I've gathered and collected. And I thought, what fun to create designs with that. So I went around and started picking things up, and I have wonderful rocks that I've gathered from different places I've visited. I have a great gnarled piece of wood. Oh my goodness, was that a find? Absolutely adored it. And then seashells, beautiful full sand dollars. How often do you find those? And this time I did. And then an old pod. This is actually from summer a year ago, late summer in the fall, and it's all dried, but I've saved it. And a nest. This too is an old find. It's not from this year. It's a little too early to be gathering nests now. The birds are still using them. And then of course, here in the Oregon area, we've got beautiful mosses that I've collected, and bark, and some fun twigs. This is a piece of kiwi vine. So many fabulous things. Won't they make a great arrangement? For this design, I'm going to work in a flat tray that I've just filled with foam below the surface, cutting it down. I want to do a pave, almost a tapestry, so that it becomes almost a meditation. As I put everything in and touch it, it invites me to touch it and to enjoy. The mechanics for attaching, I find that I use a number of different things. Sometimes I use a hot glue gun and a wire or an anchor pin. Other times I'll use Oasis Floral adhesive, and then other times I'll use glue dots. But whichever you use, kind of experiment with it. Sometimes you'll need to take your item and wash it a bit. I actually use rubbing alcohol wipes. It's not a baby wipe, so it doesn't have the lotion on it. It's just rubbing alcohol. I'll rub it down to make sure that it's clean. Now a rock, maybe you can just set it. But a shell, sometimes you want to anchor that a little more. For the shell, I find just a glue dot, applied directly on, pull the sleeve off, or a little piece of paper. There we go. And then an anchor pin right onto the glue. Holds it really well. So you want to experiment. Which is best? Is it a glue dot? Is it cold glue? Is it hot glue? Do you need to clean it using a wipe? But go through and gather your treasures, anchor them, and prepare them before you even begin. Now comes the fun. Once everything is prepared with an anchor pin, you just start laying it right down into the dish. I'm going to pull that one back a little further. Scoot him back. There we go. So he just leans over. Then the rock. I'm going to put the rock here. And I didn't do an anchor pin. He's just going to sit into place. And then the shells. A large one first, letting him run across. And then a smaller one. Then yet another small one. But this one I'm going to put in going the other direction. Turn it a little bit. There we go. Sliding it underneath so it's lower. So I get a terracing going. I'm going to lift that just a bit so you can see, but not too far, because I don't want to roll my rock off or lose my stick. Everything anchored in there. Then I can go back and add little bits of moss. Will help hold the stick into place right where I want it. There we go. Maybe add a little bit of space underneath so that the rock nestles right up into there. So again, I'm just starting to build a pattern, guiding your eye up and in, and then anchoring it in the back with the rock. As I work, I can even add in more of the treasures just by gluing them directly to themselves. So taking just a tiny glue dot on the back of the shell, and then anchoring it to the shell underneath. Finding the perfect spot, there we go. Then going back and adding flowers. I picked a Metalina rose because it's so simple and delicate. It won't distract from the materials that I'm going to use, but yet it picks up that light color of the shell. So I'm going to bring it over here to bring some lightness to this side of the container. Just cutting them very short, tucking them in. Maybe bringing one over here with the shells. Then another. Or you can go back and tuck a little bit of moss down in, bringing the texture all the way across from one side to the other, and then going back. Got some beautiful viburnum berries. Oh, they were so grand. Removing the leaves. And then just setting them down in, maybe a little bit shorter yet, so I can tuck them flat down low and add some vibrancy. And again. Right in the same spot. And you can see by keeping everything low, it invites you to touch it, to come in and feel and enjoy, once again, those treasures you've collected, the shells, the stick, the rock, all enhanced with more natural materials from Mother Nature. To finish covering my foam, I'm going to use a little bit of sedum. It gives me wonderful texture. It'll dry beautifully, so it'll last just as long as everything else in here. I can bring a little bit underneath the rock in the back, filling in. Even just lifting the rock a little bit to squeeze it under. And then over beside the shells on the opposite side. Tucking it down in tightly. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. Tucking it down in there. Then as I settle everything in, I've got a focal area right here that's empty. I'm going to use a single section of miniature Cymbidium orchids. I've already used the others in corsage work, and this was my leftover piece. It'll be beautiful to cut it low so it nestles right down in. And I just have to lift that moss that I placed earlier, make room for the stem, and then slide it into place, tucking it in nice and tight. There we go. And letting the throats just sit and lay. I can go back with another stem. Yes, I have another one. Bringing one more piece around to the back side too, so that it looks like it's growing up from underneath my stick. And then one last check to make sure there's no foam showing, and then stop and enjoy. If you're a gardener, there's also a lot of treasures in your own garden. By the end of the summer, plants have gotten so full and overgrown that they need to be cut apart, replanted, divided, separated, so that they'll be good for the coming year. This hen and chicks is no different. It's just almost growing over the top of itself. So reaching in and pulling off one, getting it cut out of there, I can actually put it into the arrangement, and it'll grow. Not in the arrangement, but once the arrangement fades, I can take the hen and chick outside, put it back into the soil, and it'll divide and separate. You can see the little sections of root there. Just want to clean it up a little bit, get rid of some of the damaged older leaves. So you've got a nice little plant to work with. Then using a wood-wired pick, just take and wrap that right around the base, taking the wire and connecting the two, get it in there. There we go. Kind of captures the stem and the roots. Lost a couple of leaves there. And it's a little longer than I need, so I'm going to cut that down. Then I can take this and just insert it right down into the design, right where the moss is. There we go. Tucking it in, lost another leaf. There we go. And do that again. I saved a couple more out that I'd already cut. Taking the wired pick, wrapping round and around. And then once again, it's longer than I need, so cutting it down. And then finding a perfect place to nestle it in. Be right over here with the shells. And one last piece. Succulents are so fabulous because you can do this, you can abuse them, use them, and then when you're done, take them and plant them, and they'll be just fine. So what treasures have you collected this summer? What are you going to create? And of course, now that summer is drawing to a close, it's time to get out and gather autumn treasures. Yes, year-round you can collect these fabulous findings and create your own floral tapestry to enjoy and meditate and think back to all the fun times. For more creative inspiration, check out our website at flowerschool.com. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to contact us. You can reach us through the website as well as by telephone at 1-800-819-8089. And today, with all of us spread so far apart in different areas of the world, email is always so easy. Feel free to use my personal email. It's Leanne, Leanne, at floraldesigninstitute.com. For now, enjoy the last days of summer. Find your treasures, have fun, and do something you love.